I'm back to show you the finishing touches of my cat scratching post. So I've taken off the finished scratching post here, and I'm going to put this carpet on. The bottom is nice and plush, and you can also see in the middle I have a dot with my knife pointed at it. That's the middle. I'm going to cut a hole in that so I can put it over the pole. And here's my hole. I'm going to put it over the pole.
So soft. I couldn't nail it for
Oops,
days.
don't be like me and leave the knife out.
You said it was like a dream.
That was stupid.
Yeah, it's a dream, like a dream castle.
If you love it, then I'm sure the cats will love it. But no worries, no harm happened.
So soft.
Won't be doing that again.
It forever, almost.
Using a staple gun and a hot glue gun, I'm gonna firmly attach the leftover piece of carpet I had just laying around, which happens to be a perfect size. It's gonna help give covering of these bolts too. I'm using a hammer to push in the staples the rest of the way. And on the corners, I'm going to be cutting off some carpet here, you can see. And additionally, I'll be cutting off this bit, and I've left a little bit of carpet so that it can roll over the edge, as you see here. And one of the leftover pieces I used to kind of give rise to protect the carpet from the bolts. Alright, next I'm going to wrap this concrete tube form, this cardboard tube in this carpet down here to make a house at the top. It's going to be horizontal. And I got another galvanized steel fitting to fit the tube at the top here. I've already put the screws in and screwed it to the top of the galvanized pipe. So I already had the pipe, and these fittings are really expensive. They're 10 bucks, so just the fittings alone is $20. Those things I had to buy. This carpet was free. I bought the rope. Much earlier I bought the foam noodle, but that's pretty cheap. And of course some of the hardware I've bought to fit the fitting here. So let's get to work on the house part. Honestly, I should have carpeted the outside of the tube before I attached it, but the bolts weren't very long. I didn't want to go back to the hardware store, and you can see the Fender Washers spreading out the weight, giving it some support. Next we'll do the carpet. Next I'm going to be cutting a square door at the top of the scratching post in the tube, using this hacksaw, cutting the left and right sides of the door, and I used a razor blade, cutting several times in the same spot until the top of the door fell off. For covering it, I used the circumference formula plus an additional length to make sure it wrapped around, and you can see the doors cut out. And just so you know, this cardboard tube material is very strong. I mean, I can pound on it and it still doesn't bend. I mean, it's bending, but it's not creasing it. It's not permanently, maybe it just started to a little bit, but it's stronger than it looks. And now for some finishing touches. I used the hot glue gun to take some additional rope and accent the ends of the tubes and kind of cover the ends of the carpet a little bit. I've also added this stick that I pushed through a hole, tied a rope to, and hot glued together some leftover bits of carpet for a little cat toy. It didn't take long for the cats to start sniffing around, being curious about the finished cat tree, but it took a few days until one of them or two of them got up into the tube or even on top of the tube. Cats will be cats. Looks like Munna's on top of the new cat house. The kids draped some sheets over it as a tent. She's not in the tube, but she's finally using it. Enjoying the curtain too. Hey there, Munna.